Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Johnny Thacker, and this is Rowan Matthew. We will be co-moderating today's debate. Welcome to Mikva Challenge's Lieutenant Governor debate at Community High School. Before we begin tonight, we'd like to invite Jacob Urban, who is in NHS as well as Student Council, to lead us in the pledge, and we invite all of you to join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Jacob. We want to thank Ms. Maria Rodriguez, running mate of Bill Brady, Ms. Jill Tracy, running mate of Kirk Dillard, and Mr. Kim, running mate of Dan Rutherford, for attending tonight. Bruce Rauner's running mate, Evelyn Sanguinetti, was scheduled to attend tonight's event, but her campaign unfortunately canceled her appearance due to a scheduling conflict downstate. We want to thank these three candidates for spending some time with us tonight. We'd like to remind our audience that tonight's event is like a classroom. While students might be in charge of this classroom, we still have the rule of asking you to be respectful to all of our candidates. Please withhold any applause you have until the end of our debate. Also, please again remember to silence your cell phones.
No, really. Take this second and silence your cell phones.
For the remainder of the debate, each of the Republican Lieutenant Governor candidates will be allotted up to 1 minute for each of their remarks tonight. Each candidate has been given 4 red challenge flags that they can use for 30-second rebuttals during their answers to our questions.
And just to explain that, you can just pull out your red card and you can basically say anything you want to say for 30 seconds. Our questions have been written by community high school students and students from Mikva Challenge. If you'd like to submit a question, we invite you to go on Twitter at the hashtag #BeMyGov. You can also live tweet tonight's debate at hashtag #BeMyGov. And for those of you who do not have a Twitter, you can use the index cards that will be provided to you to put a question that can be sent up to us. Please remember to continue keeping your phones on silent even while you're tweeting. And for the candidates, we will have time limits that are signaled by the lights in the front. Remember that you have 1 minute per question, and the green light will entail that you may begin speaking. The yellow light will mean that you have 20 seconds remaining, and the red light will mean that you should stop. Now we will first begin with candidate introductions, and the order will be according to the March ballot. So, without further ado, Ms. Rodriguez, you have 1 minute for your introduction.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate having a chance to be here tonight. This is an extraordinary opportunity to be together with you, the youth of our area. My name is Maria Rodriguez, and I am, for the last 8 years, I've been mayor of Long Grove. I was interested in being part of Bill Brady's team because I believe that our experiences are well balanced. He has the state legislative experience and I have local government experience. I think there's so much that has to be done in Illinois and so much potential here that it is going to take a team. And the governor sitting in the mansion in Springfield and then the lieutenant governor having a presence in Chicago is exactly what we need. We are a very strong team, reliable and trustworthy. And Bill Brady ran in the past and lost by less than 1 point, which is just a fraction. And so we want to build on that support and feel we can get it done this time. We're asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Rodriguez. Mr. Kim, you have 1 minute for your introduction.
Thank you. Yes, thank
Thank you. I'm Steve Kim, and I'm the running mate for the current Illinois Treasurer, Dan Rutherford. I came to this country when I was 2 years old with my parents from South Korea, and I'm very excited to be here in front of all of you to be running for such a position as Lieutenant Governor. When Treasurer Rutherford asked me to be his Lieutenant Governor, he also asked me to head up the Governor's Office of Job Creation and Retention, which we believe is the most important thing that state government needs to do. We have too many fiscal issues with Illinois. Our unemployment rate is incredibly high. As a matter of fact, our youth unemployment rate is at 28% here in Illinois. So I will be dedicated with the treasurer as the next governor to be putting more jobs here into Illinois and to making sure that young people like yourself after high school and after college will have the opportunities available to you here in Illinois. Thank you.
Ms. Tracy, you now have a minute.
Good evening. I'm Representative Jill Tracy from Quincy, Illinois, and it's good to be with you. I was in Springfield at the legislative session today, and I was able to get up here, and it's great to be with all of you. As I campaign around the state, people tell me that they want to see a better Illinois. They want more job opportunities, and they want to see a state that is free of corruption, and I agree with them. Illinois must regain its competitive edge. Our state has great potential like no other state, but what we need is strong leadership. Illinois can be the capital of the Midwest once again, and Kirk Dillard and I are committed to improving our business climate in Illinois. And we want to make sure that our state government is stable and trustworthy. We need to have a good quality public education throughout this state. And we also want to have good infrastructure for all Illinoisans. The last time Illinois worked, Jim Edgar was governor, and Kirk Dillard was his chief of staff. That experience makes Kirk the only candidate who is tested and prepared to lead Illinois back to the right track. We are tested and prepared to lead Illinois, and I am the only lieutenant governor candidate with the exact legislative experience that we need to help the governor move his agenda forward. The Dillard-Tracy team is the only team who can beat Pat Quinn in the November election and lead Illinois back and make it work again.
Thank you, Ms. Tracy. So now we will begin our questions, and I just wanted to remind you all to continue tweeting or writing on the index card to send us your questions, and we will now begin the debate.
All right, question 1. Over the years, the role of lieutenant governor has increasingly become unclear. Some find the role to be like the vice president's. Popular opinion is that there is no role for the lieutenant governor. If you support smaller government, shouldn't the office of lieutenant governor be abolished?
Ms. Rodriguez, you now have 1 minute to answer the question.
Well, there has been legislation introduced to abolish the office, and I think if it is a ceremonial office, then perhaps the responsibilities could be delegated elsewhere. However, that's not in place right now. And so my feeling is if I'm elected as lieutenant governor, that I certainly can find meaningful things to do here. And frankly, again, there is so much to do here that it really is imperative to have a lieutenant governor and a governor in office right now as a strong team. It affords us the chance to cover a lot more territory. I believe, as I said, I was mayor of Long Grove. I have a great deal of local government experience, and I understand that the challenges that all of our small towns face across the state. It's been a problem keeping the individuals that shop local in the towns, but also there's a great deal of regulatory challenges to these small towns. So I could be an ear for that and an ear for small business as well up in Chicago. Thank you.
You now have 1 minute. Mr. Kim, you have a minute to answer the question.
The Lieutenant Governor's Office is a pretty unique team right now. This is the first time in the state of Illinois where the governor actually gets to choose his or her Lieutenant Governor candidate. This has allowed, previous for myself accepting the position, has allowed me to talk to the treasurer and talk about what my role will be. Because I was not ready to give up my law practice for a ceremonial position. So we decided where my assets would lie, and that is in helping companies
here in Illinois expand, create more jobs, and also in helping companies all over the world and bringing them here into Illinois that they can create good jobs. So that's why when he asked me to head up the Governor's Office of Job Creation and Retention, I knew that we can have the right partnership where the governor will serve as the chief marketing officer, where he'll set up the deal, and then I'll make sure that we come together and make sure that job creation retention, that's not a job that someone can do all on its own. We do need a partnership in that, and that's the role that we will be taking. Thank you.
Ms. Tracy, you may now begin.
Since the governor chooses his lieutenant governor running mate, I think it's a great opportunity to better serve Illinois. And certainly when Kirk Dillard was looking for a running mate and sought my adding to the ticket, I looked at what we could offer together as a team, and certainly we complement each other. And it's important to remember that our current governor started out as a lieutenant governor, and that's why it's so critical for all Illinoisans to look at the array of lieutenant governor candidates and decide who they think is the most capable, the most experienced, and could lead this state, just as the governor could. So with that, I asked Senator Dillard if I could serve as an economic advisor. I am working side by side in a family food business called Dot Foods down in Mount Sterling, Illinois. And with that, we've created jobs in Illinois. We employed over 2,000, and we had started out from a very small business previously. But what I have learned from that business, doing business in all 50 states, is how we've lost our competitive edge in Illinois. And I want to be the economic advisor to the governor to how we can create jobs and bring them back into Illinois so that Illinois can work again.
Thank you. Our next question is, what's a type of Illinois political reform that will truly make our public officials more accountable to the people?
Mr. Kim, you have 1 minute to answer this question.
Accountability is so important, and we need to make sure that government is more transparent than ever before. Right now, in the current state budgets, it's in the $50–60 billion range, and every dollar does count because we are in such a fiscal bad shape. So I think we need to have an open book policy. We need to make sure that our budget numbers and all of the programs in the governor's office and its costs and its benefits, that it's all open here on the internet so that people can see it, so that people like yourselves can click on IllinoisGov.com and take a look. Where is your taxpayer money going to? So I think it's more important than ever right now because of all of the hardships that Illinois has faced due to political corruption and all of the negativity that we have received all throughout the world. I mean, we've been on David Letterman as a laughingstock because of what happened with our political corruption here in Illinois. So I believe that transparency in state government is paramount, and we can do that with the technologies that we have right now, with the internet and with other technology services. We can make government more open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kim. Ms. Tracy, you now have 1 minute.
As a state senator, Kirk Dillard sponsored major legislation, and I, along in the House, also joined on to that legislation that would put our government budget online so that we could see where every dollar and dime was spent in state government and with vendors and the like. So Senator Dillard and I have a proven record of trying to make everything more transparent in state government. We believe that is better government and it's good government for every Illinoisan to know where every dime is spent in state government. Likewise, you mentioned in the Blagojevich administration, which was a cloud of corruption on our state, I served on that impeachment committee. And it was we were made all too aware of how important it was to have a transparent government and to put things like this online for all Illinoisans to see.
Thank you very much. Ms. Rodriguez, you may begin.
Well, there is legislation to make our government more transparent, but I would say tonight I'd like to take a minute to tell you that this is where you are most important. You can make a difference. You know, as was said, we accept this fact that Illinois, it's the joke about vote early, vote often, and how many extra people vote. In the last election, thousands and thousands of people voted who were not even alive. The census roll doesn't match the voter roll. You can make a difference. On your cell phone, you have real-time information and archived information. Call, make it a point to put your representatives' phone numbers in your cell phone and make yourself aware of what's going on and call in. You can make an enormous difference, more than you can even imagine. That's what's most important in our government. We demand transparency, demand that you can see with technology what the spending is, but get involved like you are tonight and call in, make the legislators feel the weight of their constituency.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Our next question is, should recreational use of marijuana be legalized in Illinois?
Ms. Tracy, you may now begin.
We ask the audience to please be respectful to all our candidates. Thank you.
Certainly, I do not think it should be legalized. I have two sons that have lived in Colorado, and I have observed firsthand how most of the average age of use for medical marijuana is 23 years of age. And I worked very closely in my legislative career with law enforcement. And right now, with a tight budget, we've really tied the hands of law enforcement in many ways to effectively provide for our public safety. And overwhelmingly, they tell us that to expand the use of drugs that are illegal or to legalize marijuana would make their jobs more difficult. And we can't overlook that our federal government still has laws on its books that do not legalize marijuana. It's still against federal law.
Ms. Rodriguez, you will now have 1 minute to answer this question.
Well, we do have legalized medical marijuana at this point, but it has a sunset on it. I think we can take a look at where that takes us, but I have to agree with Representative Tracy here on this one, that most of the law enforcement has said that it's really a bad idea. And we're seeing other states that have legalized recreational marijuana are not necessarily they're not happy with their legislation or where things are going. So I think it's something that we have to be very careful about. With any legislation, it's the unintended consequences when bills are passed without being completely thought through. So I think there's a lot to it.
Mr. Kim, you now have a minute.
Now, the medical marijuana is a pilot program right now, and I believe it's a little bit premature to consider any extension of the pilot program. And we have to consider all of the effects. I mean, still currently the application for medical dispensaries and patients and caregivers, they haven't even been accepted by the Illinois regulatory agencies, not until I believe the fall of 2014. And also, as others are saying, it's still illegal under the federal law, and that it's been mostly objected by the Illinois law enforcement agency. So for these reasons, I do think that it's a little bit premature to commit to extending the medical marijuana program for now. We see the different impacts of it years later, and if we see any changes to it, then